Golden Go as a way to take advantage of this. But when you have to worry about not just Throat Chop, but possibly a stellar Terra Throat Chop that could do so much damage that even if you survive it, you're probably going down to your next life orb hit, well, then maybe it's less valuable.
Top 8 here in Louisville. One of these two trainers will move on to top 4. Wolfe, Glick, Andrew, Zheng. Andrew, his 3rd top cut of his career in the Masters Division. Sneasler, Porygon 2 for the lead compared to Wolfe's Incineroar and Yanmega.
No surprise from Wolfe to see the Incineroar hit the field and gets a pretty valuable Intimidate into Sneasler on the other side. Yanmega in a pretty strong spot to fight against the Sneasler, where we do have that awkward speed control matchup, where as the Yanmega gets faster, the Porygon 2 could just decide to Trick Room and invert those speeds. The Sneasler has to watch out for Fake Out from Incineroar on the other side, doesn't want to give up that Focus Sash too easily. But of course, if you protect through the Fake Out, then that just means Yanmega is faster than Sneasler in the next turn.
Yeah, definitely important to keep note of the speed tiers. And, you know, as we said, if Yanmega gets a couple of speed boosts, then you're going to be super fast. Go for Tailwind, boost up the rest of the speed of the team. So Sneasler going straight up for the close combat into Incineroar here on turn 1. No Fake Out from Wolfe. Incineroar hanging on through the CC in the red, just barely hanging on. Air Slash from this Yanmega into the Sneasler, who has the Focus Sash, going to be brought down to 1 HP. So not going to be around for a lot of the rest of this match if he does not keep it safe. Incineroar will Parting Shot out here for on Wolfe's end, lowering that special attack and attack by 1 stage on Porygon 2 side, but Wolfe just gets to bring something in for free.
Right, Incineroar gets to leave the field, but took a really high amount of damage for it. Very, very low already. Not going to be able to use Pivot much more. And this Ice Beam is going to do less because of that Parting Shot, but still does a really good chunk to Yanmega.
Yeah, it does over 50%, so you would not be able to take another Ice Beam on the following turn. Ursaluna has brought itself onto the field, activated the Flame Orb, but there is no Trick Room, so Sneasler definitely threatens it.
Yeah, Sneasler threatens it, but Yanmega threatens Sneasler first. Wolfe kind of putting the Sneasler on the other side in a speed sandwich, has the Yanmega moving first and the Ursaluna moving fast. Parting Shots out into the Ursaluna just in case it was Trick Room from the Porygon 2 on the turn. You would still have the speed advantage. And it means that Poison Touch on the other side is a really important decision. If this was Sneasler with Unburden that had just used the Focus Sash up, it'd be moving first, and this position would be a lot different. I'm sure those poisons earlier on have been helpful for Andrew, but right now, not paying as much dividends. Porygon 2 then is kind of threatened as well. Could just maybe go down to like an Air Slash and a Facade, and so there has to be some thought to getting the Intimidate in and trying to mitigate the damage from the Ursaluna on the other side.
Porygon 2 will switch out to get rid of those stat drops, the Parting Shot put onto it the prior turn. Incineroar comes into that slot. Incineroar the Grumpy, by the way. I think a very adequate name for Incineroar to have on Andrew's end. Wolfe's not going to switch out. Intimidate will be effective into Ursaluna, even though it's going to be a very strong Pokemon because of the Guts boost. It's just not going to be doing as much as it would have without that Intimidate. But Terra, Ghost, Ursaluna, now those close combats are going to be immune if Sneasler went for it. But no, Andrew does not fall for the Terra Ghost bait and protects itself on this turn. Yanmega with the Bug Buzz into Incineroar, so that means that he did not target the Sneasler slot there because you had Earthquake to cover both ends. Anyway, Incineroar will be able to take this the super effective but intimidated attack. The answer is no.
Yeah, so protects the Sneasler, doesn't close combat into the Ghost and falls for that bait, but falls for the even bigger bait, as Sneasler just protects itself while Yanmega doesn't even attack. Wolfe uses the Ghost Terra on the Ursaluna to mitigate the risk of that. You don't want to predict that your opponent will protect Sneasler or not attack it just to have it close combat the Ursaluna. So by this combination of targeting into the Porygon 2 slot and using the Ghost Terrestrialization, you're not as worried about the Sneasler not attacking. But when it doesn't attack, you get massive damage. The Earthquake and Bug Buzz into that Incineroar slot would have done a lot of damage to Porygon 2, but instead picks up the KO as Incineroar comes in to try to intimidate that Ursaluna. Now things look a lot more difficult for Andrew to deal with the offense of this Ursaluna.
Golden Go is the choice for Andrew, so he has revealed all 4 of his Pokemon here in Game 1 here, compared to Wolfe, who still has not revealed that 4th Pokemon in the back. Andrew just try to speculate what's going on there. Golden Go is weak to the Earthquake on the other side from Ursaluna, and Ursaluna is also a Ghost typing right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that means it's weak to Shadow Ball, so more vulnerable here. While Yanmega can deal with Sneasler, we talked before that Yanmega can't deal with Golden Go very well, so Ursaluna looks pretty vulnerable. Of course, we know that Incineroar is in the back. It's so low that it might also go down to a Shadow Ball, but that would at least get you through the turn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, something that Wolfe has to consider. And now, since it was intimidated the prior turn, you want to maybe potentially swap Ursaluna out here to reset that attack stat and use that Flame Orb to its highest value. Porygon 2 swapped into that slot, getting a special attack boost thanks to its download ability, so that is definitely going to help it do even more damage. And as a normal type, it would be immune to the Shadow Ball in case Wolfe is worried about a Shadow Ball going into that direction. Andrew terrestrializes Golden Go into a water type. Not too bad when you're not facing Archaludon on the other end. Yanmega will Tailwind here. Dire Claw's not enough for the knockout yet. Poison Touch here does land the poison, which will mean Yanmega goes down to that poison. Shadow Ball was the right call, so Wolfe swapped his normal type in to take no damage.
Yeah, has the perfect switch in available for the Shadow Ball. Andrew has to use the Water Terrestrialization to respect the Tailwind plus Earthquake play, but instead it is just Porygon 2 coming in. Sneasler manages to outlast the Yanmega on the field and is still here. But now the Tailwind is there on the other side. Sneasler can't do that much damage back to Ursaluna. You can't hope for any Dire Claw luck because of the burn already being on Ursaluna. So if the Ursaluna is faster than Golden Go and has the Earthquake available, you know, there's no safe partner for Wolfe to use next to that Earthquake, but it would deal well, you know, a ton of damage to the Golden Go. You could also just Facade and try to pick up the KO on Golden Go before it moves.
Yeah, because as of right now, this Sneasler on Andrew's end, because of having coaching, it does not have Throat Chop for compared to Wolfe's version that does have a Dark Attack for a Ghost Ursaluna. So Andrew definitely feels very threatened by the Ursaluna on the other end, so he will swap the Golden Go out into Porygon 2, getting the download boost. Close combat from Sneasler into Porygon 2 does just over 50% HP. You don't care about the stat drop since Sneasler's at 1 hit point remaining. Terra Blast, though, into the Sneasler, takes it out here, and the question is, does Wolfe go for the EQ because he thought Golden Go would stay in, or did he click the Facade? And Wolfe's not taking the risk. He knows he's in the lead here. Don't try to throw anything away. Facade is a 2-hit KO into Porygon.
Yeah, and Facade would have been a 1-hit KO into Golden Go where Earthquake wouldn't be. So this is just the way to make sure and prevent attacks from Andrew's side. Now there's probably a very critical decision. Do you think that the Golden Go will protect while Porygon tries to set up a Trick Room, or no? I think the safest option from Wolfe, you can just Facade again and take out the Porygon. Can Golden Go really deal with all three of these Pokemon? Maybe if you give it a Nasty Plot, let it out last the Tailwind, there's a chance, and so there's some risk in that direction. You can also just Facade and go after the Golden Go immediately, but if it does protect and invert the dimensions with Trick Room, then maybe it's going to get to Shadow Ball before the Ursaluna, but of course you can just stall your own Tailwind out as well. So it seems like eventually one way or the other, Wolfe can find the right speed matchup here.
It seems like no matter what, the Golden Go is sandwiched between two difficult decisions. If you want to try to protect, to stay safe, but then that could punish the potential Porygon on the other end. Very tough call for Andrew. We'll see what he does here. Wolfe is going to recover HP with his Porygon 2, and the Facade goes into Porygon on Andrew's end. So Andrew down to just the Golden Go remaining here in game 1. This is a Life Orb, make it rain, gets the crit on Ursaluna, and it's still not enough for the knockout.
Yeah, even with the critical hit, not enough. Doesn't opt for the Shadow Ball to just lock in that KO, but also doesn't get the Nasty Plot that would give the damage to try to get through Porygon 2. Maybe hoping Porygon would attack and make it rain to be enough to KO it, but because the Porygon 2 recovers, now you really don't have any damage potential into the Porygon 2. It's free to Trick Room or just continue to recover or whatever it needs to do to eventually beat this Golden Go, which has been left all by itself as its partners go down to repeated Ursaluna attacks.
There is one turn of Trick Room left on Wolfe's end, so he's going to use that boosted speed to his benefit on the Porygon, recovering for a second turn in a row to go back up to full HP. There is the Facade to knock out the Golden Go, and Wolfe Glick is one game away from moving on to the top 4 here in Louisville.
You can really see how dynamic the speed options from Wolfe are. I counted for a possible Trick Room on turn 1 by having Ursaluna on the field, but then Ursaluna is fast enough that when that Trick Room doesn't come out, Yanmega can just Trick Room and seize the speed advantage that way. Wouldn't work against a lot of faster Pokemon. Ursaluna is slow enough that you can't get over a Garchomp and the Sneasler that way, but Golden Go slow enough that Ursaluna was able to be faster and be a problem for the Golden Go on the other side.
Yeah, I think a team composition like this just shows the skills of such an excellent trainer, because it has that tail room or tailwind / trick room aspect to it, where sometimes it's like, all right, one game I want to win through tailwind, one game I went through for trick room. However, Wolfe is bringing both speed control options in the same set in the same game.
Right, to be able to have that flexibility. I think an important aspect of that game was the Sneasler from Andrew's side really didn't end up contributing much. It got the Terastallization out onto the Ursaluna, but then after that, it didn't have very good targets. It could go with -1 Dire Claw. We saw into Yanmega, couldn't even pick up a KO into like a 40% health Yanmega. Really could never do any damage into Ursaluna at all, which meant that while Andrew had to worry that it might take an air slash at any moment and be KO'd, Wolfe was also content to just kind of ignore it. The Sneasler is going to have to contribute more if it's going to be led and stuck on the field for as long. But you can also see why Andrew would want it on the field. If it was the Porygon 2 led from Wolfe or the Ursaluna led, then that close combat is a lot more valuable.
All right, let's see what adjustments Andrew makes here to force a Game 3 against one of the game's finest here in Wolfe. Yanmega Incineroar yet again for Wolfe on his end. Andrew with the Porygon and Incineroar of his own.
Yeah, so no Sneasler this time to take the -1 from Intimidate. Instead, just Incineroars on both sides intimidating each other. Porygon 2 only there from Andrew's side, but Andrew doesn't have the team to actually go into some kind of trick room. But a lot of times you'd see Incineroar next to Porygon and think that, the fake out or parting shot plus trick room is inevitable, but that doesn't work for Andrew. He's just going to lose that if it's Ursaluna in the back. So Sid is going to have to fight with damage against these. Porygon 2 got an attack boost from download, not going to be threatening that much damage. The Incineroar can go out on the offense against the Yanmega. I mean, you have the option for just a double up into Yanmega if you want it, but lots of ways in which that doesn't quickly moving through the game. Yanmega can just protect itself or you can get faked out, but in this case, neither is going to happen. It's there if Andrew wants it. 2
Incineroars on the field and neither of them decide to click fake out. Wolfe's will parting shot the Porygon 2 on the other end, lowering its attack and special attack. The air slash from Yanmega also went into Andrew's Incineroar, so you always have the chance of Incineroar just not even having any attack on this turn. Ice Beam from Porygon 2 does over 50%, but Incineroar does break through, gets rid of the Flame Orb 2 on this Ursaluna, so Ursaluna will not have its boosted damage.
That could be really important in the long run. Ursaluna not being able to get burnt doesn't just mean Guts won't be on, but also means Facade will be weak in power. Andrew saw this script in Game 1, saw the parting shot from Incineroar turn 1 into the Ursaluna, and called it out this time. Got the knockoff into Ursaluna, could really change the complexion of this game. Think about how often in the last game it was the Facade forcing Andrew's hand.
Yeah, sometimes you would force yourself into the Earthquake if you wanted to, and then you're targeting your own teammate there potentially. You have to play around that, so we'll see how much the Flame Orb being knocked off will impact his team. Yanmega does click Tailwind on this turn, doubling Wolfe's side of the field speed for the next 4 turns. And there is the Earthquake. Yanmega is immune to it. But look, without the Facade, it's not doing too much. Amoonguss is on the field. Now Porygon sets the Twisted Dimensions. And this is what you were talking about in Game 1, Len, where you can try to take advantage of Trick Room while Wolfe clicks Tailwind.
You can see the live adjustments from Andrew. Gets the Ursaluna with the knockoff on turn 1 to mitigate the damage. It means it's just an Earthquake coming out, and then allows the Tailwind from the other side. That would have meant that Earthquake moved before Incineroar and tried to pick up the KO there, but it's Amoonguss, the adjustment, the new Pokemon coming on the field. And now also, because the Flame Orb is knocked off, you're free to Spore that Ursaluna on the other side, and the Tailwind means that Golden Go now faster in this Trick Room than either of these Pokemon.
Right, and the beauty of Spore is that you can't have a Facade boosted attack as your status, because Spore, you cannot attack while you are asleep. So Andrew has a much stronger first couple of turns here in Game 2 in this matchup. Spore from the Amoonguss, as the slowest Pokemon on the field, will be moving more first under these Twisted Dimensions. Incineroar did swap onto the field. Wolfe does use up this first turn of mandatory sleep on Ursaluna.
Well, ignore the speeds for a second. Incineroar doesn't care whether it's moving first or second. It is set up against Amoonguss, and Golden Go resists all the damage the Golden Go can do, has the safety goggles to not itself fall asleep from Spore, and threatens damage against this Golden Go. So that's going to force the Amoonguss off the field. Incineroar is going to come in to intimidate the Incineroar on the other side and keep Golden Go a little bit healthier.
And now this Intimidate is going to be even more impactful than it was in Game 1, because Ursaluna, while the Flame Orb is activated, while you're intimidated, you're like, all right, fine, you're going to hurt a little bit of my damage, but because of the Flame Orb and Guts, it's still going to be so much better. Without the Flame Orb activating its Guts ability, this Intimidate is actually going to mitigate a lot of the damage output Ursaluna can go for. Terra Water for the Golden Go with a nasty plot, boosting its special attack by 2 stages means you're going to want to do a lot of damage once you click that Make It Rain at +2. Knock off into the now Water-type Pokemon is no longer super effective, but it does crucially get rid of the Life Orb.
Gets rid of the Life Orb, mitigates some of the damage coming out, but after a nasty plot, this Golden Go is still doing more damage now than it was before. And you can see between the defensive Terastallization into Water type and the Intimidate coming in with the Incineroar, that Knock It Off did very little to Golden Go. Incineroar now has Fake Out support. You can even maybe go for another nasty plot here because there really just isn't much of a damage threat. Of course, the speed relationships are going to shift here eventually. For one turn, Wolfe's Tailwind will expire and actually make Ursaluna faster than Golden Go a turn before the Trick Room can expire and turn the Golden Go faster again.
Incineroar from Andrew's end will parting shots. That means, technically underspeeding Wolfe's Incineroar has less speed investment in it since the Twisted Dimensions will have the slower Pokemon moving first. And of course, the Ursaluna is going to be is not able to take advantage of Trick Room because of that Tailwind that Yanmega had set up so many turns ago. Amoonguss swaps onto the field. It's time for a +2 Make It Rain from this Golden Go, and because the Life Orb got knocked off, Ursaluna survives that hit, but it still stays asleep, so Wolfe cannot respond with any damage. He'll just have to parting shot the Amoonguss for Incineroar to swap out.
Andrew doesn't want more nasty plots, just goes out on the offense with the Make It Rain, gets a pretty valuable chunk into Incineroar. You're eventually going to have to deal with it, and with the Pokemon that Andrew's shown so far, it may still be Golden Go's job, despite how bad that is for the type chart. But doesn't get the KO onto Ursaluna and leaves it on the field now for this crucial turn where Trick Room is still up, but Tailwind isn't, meaning that Ursaluna will be the first thing to move. Now, this Ursaluna maybe isn't that big of a threat anymore. It's not burned, it's -1. If Incineroar comes back, it's actually -2. So it isn't really threatening a KO against his Golden Go. Yanmega, it'd be interesting to see the speed relationship between Yanmega and Golden Go here in this Trick Room and with no speed boost left. You have to be a little bit worried that Yanmega might move first. Something like a Bug Buzz plus a Headlong Rush into Golden Go could get a KO. Of course, you could also just Rage Powder to get both of those attacks moved away and make sure that Golden Go stays healthy. And then Amoonguss, if it stays on the field, is the thing that's going to move first, so it can just spore the Yanmega. So Andrew's still in pretty good control here, but if he makes the wrong set of moves, there's a gap for Wolfe on this turn.
All right, well, will the Amoonguss be able to help Andrew out on the field this turn? Let's find out. Ursaluna swapping out into the Porygon 2. Remember that Ursaluna is just at a sliver of an HP remaining in this matchup. Yanmega does click Detect on this turn. It's a Pollen Puff from Amoonguss, not Spore, not Rage Powder, just a low damage Pollen Puff into the Porygon 2. And now Golden Go clicks to Make It Rain, but it's only +1. It doesn't have the Life Orb. Golden goes back down to neutral special attack as the Twisted Dimensions return to normal.
Yeah, Andrew shows another safe way to make sure that Wolfe could not attack on that turn. Pollen Puff would have moved before any Ursaluna attack and KO'd, and then of course Make It Rain would have KO'd Yanmega if it hadn't protected itself. But going with that option means the Golden Go has fully undone that nasty plot. It's back to neutral special attack again. The Trick Room has expired, meaning that Yanmega is the fastest thing on the field. It is a threat to kind of everything in the other slot with Air Slash could go after the Amoonguss. The Golden Go probably still not too threatened here. Has to watch out for like Terra Blast and Bug Buzz from Golden Go doing quite a bit of damage, but could still go for a Make It Rain that would finish off Yanmega and really start to dent Porygon 2.
Andrew taking a long time to consider his moves here, as this will be a very crucial turn. Understandable, since his tournament life is on the line right now. Every decision counts. Andrew will Terastallize Wolfe will Terastallize his Porygon 2, get those air balloons ready, as now Porygon is a flying type. Air Slash from Yanmega into the Amoonguss is super effective. However, it will bring Amoonguss down low enough to activate that Citrus Berry, recovering 25% of its HP. Here's a neutral Make It Rain with no Life Orb. Takes care of the Yanmega, not the bulkiest Pokemon on the planet, but really does not do too much damage to the Porygon 2 in this sense. Now, what will the Porygon 2 go for? It's going for the Terra-Flying Terra Blast into Amoonguss for the super effective hit and the KO.
Yeah, Wolfe making a declaration that Amoonguss is the main problem here, not the Golden Go that's now at -1 special attack. Amoonguss was the thing that was really creating that speed sandwich, getting the slower thing in Trick Room. But the Porygon 2 has paid a lot of health in the meantime to get that Amoonguss off the field. It's pretty low. With some combination of double up is vulnerable, not easy to get another Trick Room here maybe. We had, like we called out earlier, we did see Andrew's Incineroar move in Trick Room first, which might mean that now outside of Trick Room, Wolfe's Incineroar would move first if we had a duels of Fake Out, if Trick Room was what Wolfe was after. Of course, Ursaluna's so low in the back, but without Flame Orb, it doesn't have the same kind of timer on it. If you think it can wake up, then even at 1 HP, Ursaluna might still be able to do a lot of damage if Trick Room can go up.
Wolfe's Incineroar goes first. He goes for the Fake Out into the opposing Incineroar, so Andrew's not going to get anything out of his Big Cat on the turn. Porygon 2 recovers here, recovering 50% of his HP. It looks like Wolfe shaking his head a little bit there as Golden Go was allowed to Nasty Plot its special attack back up.
Yeah, Golden Go's special attack constantly moving in this game, but now back to +1. Porygon 2 gets healthy enough to take that attack again, but misses maybe an opportunity for a Trick Room. Golden Go's still pretty healthy here. This Make It Rain is going to be the first thing that happens, or whatever Golden Go goes for is going to be the first thing that happens in this turn. And if it gets a chance to make it rain twice from +1 and then neutral, that might, definitely is too much damage for that 1 HP Ursaluna in the back, but it might be too much damage for this Incineroar as well. And losing the Incineroar would take away Wolfe's flexibility in this game.
As you mentioned, the Ursaluna is probably not the clear win condition here for Wolfe that it was in the prior game, since it's such low HP and has no Flame Orb boost. Flare Blitz from Wolfe's Incineroar into the opposing end, calling potential a switch or just trying to get a little bit of chip damage. And now the Terra Blast from Porygon 2 has the boosted damage into Incineroar. Not enough. Incineroar hanging on in the red, and it will Parting Shot out into this Porygon 2, lowering its attack and special attack, the special attack being the crucial one here.
Wolfe perfectly calling out this Protect on Golden Go and going for the double up into Incineroar, but the damage just isn't there. Incineroar hangs on and gets a very valuable Parting Shot into Porygon 2 that further extends the survivability of this Golden Go. Now the Porygon 2 has its special attack lowered. The Incineroar lurking in the back can intimidate the Incineroar on the other side again, and this Golden Go is looking pretty healthy. It's attacked 3 times already. That would have been minus 30% from the Life Orb, but it got knocked off, meaning that Golden Go is still pretty healthy. Porygon 2 on the other side, still very healthy as well. It's just not clear where Wolfe's going to find the damage from.
Those are the trade-offs, because you got rid of Life Orb and Ursaluna was able to endure the hit, but because you got rid of Life Orb, now this Golden Go is still healthy, not taking the recoil damage. Wolfe will Parting Shot his Incineroar into the Porygon 2 on Andrew's end. There's so many similar Pokemon in this matchup, so many similar strategies as well. We know the only Pokemon Wolfe has left in the back is that low HP Ursaluna, so that might be all she wrote for Ursaluna in game 2 if it gets hit by an attack. There's the Terra Blast into Golden Go as the Water type there, but doesn't do too much damage, especially after the Parting Shot. And the Ice Beam at the -1 special attack from Porygon on Andrew's end means Ice Beam doesn't do too much either.
No, Ice Beam doesn't do too much, but it is accumulating. That Porygon 2 was going to have to take a time to recover at some point. The Ursaluna is here and very vulnerable, has to just switch back out to get Incineroar in again. Wolfe finally tries to put some damage on the Golden Go in the previous turn, but it was still so healthy and had so much damage mitigated that Golden Go is still above 50% health. It still turns away from Wolfe finding the necessary damage.
Ursaluna swaps out into Incineroar for this switch in to resist the Make It Rain. Both of Wolfe's Pokemon so close to being knocked out. If there was a crit or if the Life Orb was still intact, it would have gotten the KO. But Wolfe is able to recover up 50% HP again, and now that Ice Beam still not doing too much. Wolfe's Incineroar, as Evan likes to say, Incineroar pivots remaining. He's running out of those.
Yeah, we've compared the Incineroar health bars throughout the weekend. This time they're both very low, but it's the Golden Go health bar that matters. It's pretty high, and the Porygon 2 one might not be high enough. Of course, Make It Rains are running out. Special attack is back down again to -1. This could be a window to, Fake Out and Trick Room again and try to look for Ursaluna as a win condition. But the Porygon 2 on the other side is still pretty healthy. It's going to be hard to take it out with Ursaluna before the Porygon 2 would just get a chance to Ice Beam and KO that Ursaluna.
Andrew swaps into his Incineroar at low HP, so hoping to bait Wolfe to have an attack go into that slot and knock his Incineroar out instead of the Porygon. But Wolfe instead will fake out the Golden Go, flinching it, meaning there's no damage from Andrew's side of the field this turn, and Wolfe will recover up yet again, bringing Porygon to almost essentially full HP.
Really crucial for Wolfe that Porygon 2 can hang on here. Of course, with all the other Pokemon so low and completely unable to recover, can't afford to give it up. But he's having to use every spare moment he gets in this game, every turn of a bit of advantage, like the fake out on that last one, to heal the Porygon, not to make forward progress. Nothing is quickly moving him through this, but he's also not falling behind very quickly. The Incineroar health bar has been the main thing he's lost over the 4 or 5 turns since the last time that we saw a fake out plus recover happen. Gotta find some way to become more active in this game, though. Without speed control, the Ursaluna is just always going to be vulnerable. Slower than all 3 Pokemon that Andrew has, and of course all 3 of them can KO it. So if Trick Room never happens, the Ursaluna shouldn't ever get a chance to attack.
Golden Go clicking Nasty Plot this turn. Probably wanted to have that a couple turns ago because these Mega Rains keep lowering its special attack. You got to reset up with the Nasty Plot. But parting shot from Wolfe, instead of trying to get the KO into that position, wants to parting shot the low HP Incineroar. We know this will swap into Ursaluna. This is a 3v3 match right here, so the moment somebody loses their Pokemon, they will lose all of that pivot flexibility.
Wolfe maybe hoping to get the Trick Room and parting shot on that turn, and recognizing that damage from the -1 Incineroar not going to be too valuable here, but again, doesn't really make forward progress.
Oh, Ursaluna moving first and will protect. I was like, oh, it's a pretty slow Pokemon. How's it attacking first? Of course, it's because the protect had the extra priority there. Make It Rain will not hit Ursaluna. However, it does go into the Porygon, and Porygon takes that like a champ. If this Golden Go is going to have to continue clicking Nasty Plot, it will eventually run out of Make It Rain. It's actually coming down to a pretty scary position right now for that, but the Incineroar does survive the turn and is able to swap and parting shot back out into Andrew's Porygon 2.
So Incineroar continues to lower Porygon 2's offense, but now Wolfe finally finds the moment to get the Trick Room. The Ursaluna is on the field next to it. Took a lot of turns of pivoting to find the way Wolfe wanted to do it, but this is it. But the key problem from my perspective is that the Ursaluna and Porygon 2 don't have the damage into the Porygon 2 on the other side. If Ursaluna, even if it gets the KO onto Golden Go, I'm not sure that if that's traded for Ursaluna going back down with the number of recovers that Wolfe has already had to use on his Porygon 2 versus the recovers used on Andrew's Porygon 2, that's an end game that he can count on.
Yeah, this Ursaluna, that so many turns ago when that Flame Orb was knocked off, proving such a big deal, because sure, it would have knocked itself out by now from recoil, but think about the amount of damage that the Ursaluna could have done while Tailwind was up. Potentially could have had a very strong facade into this now water type Golden Go, and that's a lot of damage that Wolfe was not able to access here in game 2. Because of the parting shot, Porygon is going to swap itself out into Wolfe's low HP Incineroar. Intimidate not really going to matter into either of these 2 Pokemon on the other end. But the Ice Beam targets Ursaluna instead, not the Incineroar. So Ursaluna is KO'd, and then now you obviously have any type of attack on such a low HP. Incineroar will be more than enough to KO it. So now it's just Porygon 2 left against 3 of Andrew's Pokemon.
Porygon 2 moving before Ursaluna there means that after all of Wolfe's pivoting and repositioning, Ursaluna still never finds an opportunity to attack after that initial knockoff of the Flame Orb into Spore on the next turn. Ursaluna totally mitigated in this game, and that is the key difference for Andrew. That game 1, the Ursaluna was the big threat. 2 facades into Porygon, got a KO. Facade into Golden Go, got a KO. But now, this game, no damage at all, and now a 3 versus 1 advantage for Andrew. Now, a 3 versus 1 advantage can still be slow to capitalize on when it's a Porygon 2 on the other side with a few recovers left. But there's a Porygon 2 on this side too. It's got the type advantage with the Ice Beam. You can see how much that does with a critical hit. The writing is eventually on the wall here. Wolfe's Porygon 2 cannot win this match.
Right, especially because he clicked the Terra Blast on this turn for the KO instead of a potential recover, but Wolfe playing to his outs here. The Terra flying on Porygon. I do like how he tried to swap up his strategy. I mean, this game did take 18 minutes of back and forth Incineroar swaps and Porygon recovers and 3 different nasty bots. I think Golden Go has used 7 of its 8 Make It Rains as well. So
it clicked the 8th Make It Rain on this turn, but won't get a chance to use it because Porygon 2 goes down to Ice Beam first and ends game 2 in Andrew's favor.
All right, so Andrew does accomplish the first goal. It was step 1, win game 2. Step 2, potentially win game 3, move on to the top 4 here in Louisville. But Wolfe might have to play a little bit differently, not being so quick to swap Ursaluna on the field when the Incineroar is there to potentially knock off its held item.
Right, because that was really the key moment. We played for another 15 minutes afterwards, but the decisive and critical moments for this game were those first couple of turns where Ursaluna got its Flame Orb knocked off and then took a Spore and then slept for quite a while after the full 3 turns of sleep that gave Andrew the time to take advantage of his Trick Room during Wolfe's Tailwind and really build a health lead against Wolfe's team.
Looking at these replays, Golden Go, you don't get to see it too often, clicking Nasty Plot in 3 different turns and it not just like auto winning the game, right? You see sometimes somebody will double Nasty Plot and they'll be +4 and then they'll just Make It Rain everyone to smithereens, but that didn't work this time around for Andrew. Had to continue bringing his special attack back up from negative with the Nasty Plots instead of just having a super powerful one to begin with.
You have to imagine that's the most times this Golden Go has attacked in a match today. I mean, 7 attacks would have been 70% health from that Life Orb if it hadn't had it knocked off.
All right, game 3 between Andrew, Zheng, and Wolfe. Glick, the last players remaining. The other 3 members of top 4 are waiting on the results here in this game 3. Incineroar, Ursaluna for Wolfe, Incineroar, and Amoonguss for Andrew.
Well, one way to make sure that your Flame Orb does not get knocked off before Ursaluna gets burned is to lead Ursaluna, protect through the first turn, and get burned. So Ursaluna already on the field here, of course, takes an Intimidate for that. Incineroar already on the field for Andrew is going to intimidate the Ursaluna. And we see that Andrew's sticking to the same kind of pivots he made in the previous game. With Amoonguss and Incineroar, we see the full 4 now. So the pretty slow mode surrounding the Golden Go. We don't know yet if Wolfe has stuck to the same strategy. Wouldn't be surprised if with these 2 led, there is no Yanmega lurking in the back. It's seems like more of a Pokemon that establishes an early agency in the game. But if you don't account for it and it comes out ready to threaten Air Slash into Amoonguss or set up a crucial Tailwind to outspeed Golden Go, then you could be in trouble.
Ursaluna will protect, as you mentioned, say, hey, after turn 1, you could knock off my Flame Orb all you want, because all you need is that 1 turn to activate the Flame Orb and make the Guts ability do way more damage. Amoonguss will Spore into that protect here. So now, Flame Orb Ursaluna is officially online. Sure, it's been intimidated, maybe wants to swap it out to get rid of that attack drop, but at least we know later on the Golden Go is not just safe against this Ursaluna.
Right, and a completely safe turn from Wolfe to fake out the Incineroar, knows that with Ursaluna protecting and safety goggles on the other side, this Amoonguss can't do anything, and Andrew doesn't take advantage of that safe turn to reposition to a different place, and now gets the Citrus Berry knocked off as well.
There you go, so no won't be able to recover 25% HP when it falls below 50%. There is the attack into Incineroar, but it's not enough for the knockout thanks to the Intimidate from before.
You can see the really substantial speed differences in this Incineroar. Not just are they different from each other, one Incineroar moved before the other Ursaluna, the other Incineroar moved afterwards, and parting shot it out after taking a Facade on this turn. So very slow Incineroar on Andrew's side.
That's what's one of the best parts about VGC is how you can take the same Pokemon, same stats and everything, and train them completely different to have completely different utility on your team compared to your opponent.
So now Amoonguss has had its survivability lessened by getting the Citrus Berry knocked off. The Incineroar has taken a ton of damage already, and meanwhile Wolfe has paid nothing for it. Just had the attack lowered on the Ursaluna, but Andrew is looking very far behind after just a couple of turns. Now Golden Go, the critical Pokemon, is on the field and going to need to look for opportunities, but it's already scary. There's lots of damage potential on the other side. You can bring back in the Incineroar to get both of these Pokemon 2/2. That's exactly what's going to happen to get some Regenerator health onto the Amoonguss. But even at -2, you're going to be forced to Terastallize. You can't afford to take a headlong rush from -2 Ursaluna, and that damage is going to start to accumulate on Golden Go, especially if it then doesn't get its life orb knocked off.
And look at how low HP Andrew's Incineroar is already at on the switch in here compared to Wolfe. So if there's a long drawn-out parting shot battle, Wolfe would be coming out on top there because of the amount of HP remaining. But Golden Go will Terastallize yet again into a water type, get rid of that ground weakness, and here comes the nasty plot, boosting its special attack by 2 stages. The Flare Blitz, though, from Wolfe, from one Incineroar to another, is ineffective and not enough for the knockout. So now it's Ursaluna with the -2 headlong rush into Golden Go, doesn't even do 50%.
No, but picks up valuable damage. Unless this Golden Go can find its way next to Amoonguss to be Pollen Puff, that is damage that will stick. Wolfe, goes for Flare Blitz there. Could have gone for a knockoff into the Golden Go, but maybe intentionally wanting to keep the life orb there. It's going to make it really hard for Golden Go to deal with a recovering Porygon 2 later on in the match. The Amoonguss eventually just has to switch on the field. When Amoonguss is stuck against 2 Pokemon it can Spore, a lot of players will just continue to Spore that Incineroar spot, expecting it to eventually Parting Shot out and let you land the Spore somewhere else. But Wolfe just refuses to do that. Stays in, continues to attack with Incineroar. Andrew spends 1 turn failing a Spore into the safety goggles and then just gives up and has to switch it out.
Ursaluna does swap out here on this turn for Wolfe, though, as the Amoonguss is no longer on the field, and he wants to reset those attack drops that it's taken in this game. So Porygon goes into that slot. Here's another Make It Rain. Does over 50% to Porygon. Is resisted hit into Incineroar, so it doesn't do too much. And just like that, the Golden Go is back down to neutral special attack after 2 Make It Rain. So this was Wolfe's Incineroar clicking the party shot this time to lower the stats on Andrew's low health Incineroar.
Yeah, with no Amoonguss there, it is safe to just take your burnt Pokemon off the field, to go ahead and Parting Shot and drop the attack of the Incineroar on the other side. But now Yanmega was lurking in the back. It could try to go after this Golden Go, but it's going to be doing so at -1 special attack as Incineroar Parting Shots into that slot.
Yeah, the Yanmega being the 4th Pokemon revealed for Wolfe. This is, we've seen him multiple times on stream this weekend, and pretty much, it's not 100% certainty, but pretty much when he did bring Yanmega, it was a lead Pokemon instead of a Pokemon to bring in the back. It does have its special attack lowered thanks to the Parting Shot from the last turn, and because of Amoonguss's Regenerator ability, it was able to recover up its HP back to full.
Now Amoonguss can redirect attacks, try to keep this damaged Golden Go a little bit healthier. At +1 special attack, it is still a big damage threat, but maybe not a threat to KO either of these Pokemon. We saw it do just about 50% at +2 special attack to Porygon, and of course Yanmega still has the Focus Sash intact. So if you get the Rage Powder, take a lot of damage into Amoonguss for a Make It Rain that maybe just gets recovered off, and you take more Life Orb recoil in the meantime. That was a big aspect of the last game, was that Golden Go got to just keep spamming Make It Rain because it didn't have the Life Orb anymore. This time it's a timer on Golden Go unless you can find the chance to Pollen Puff.
Wolfe is going to swap Incineroar into the Porygon 2 slot just in case Andrew wants to put a pesky Spore into that location, and with Incineroar safety goggles, he's going to be immune to that. But Andrew does not Spore. Instead, will Rage Powder to redirect the Yanmega's attack away towards the Amoonguss. Because of the Parting Shot, it doesn't even bring Amoonguss down to 50%, meaning it wouldn't, potentially, with the rolls, would not be enough for a 2-hit KO. Here's the Make It Rain, bringing Yanmega down to its Focus Sash and Incineroar into the red.
Golden Go continues to get lower, getting in dangerous territory where a Fake Out plus Bug Buzz play is possible. You have to worry that Golden Go is getting too low to fight in this game. But also the Make It Rain damage is accumulating. Yanmega down to 1 HP, Incineroar very low. The Porygon 2 took a big chunk and then didn't take the opportunity to recover previously, and so it's going to be vulnerable when it comes back out. But any attempt to attack from Andrew is scary because this composition is so focused on Golden Go doing the other damage. The other 3 Pokemon aren't going to be able to carry through it, so it has to leave the field. It can't feel comfortable risking a trade of Golden Go at this point.
Yeah, its special attack was so low, you don't want to take a Life Orb recoil for such minimal damage, so Incineroar will swap onto the field in that position. Andrew actually making a double switch here with the Amoonguss leaving the field, finally revealing his 4th Pokemon in this game, which is the Porygon 2. Gets an attack boost, not the special attack boost he was looking for. Yanmega does click Tailwind. We've actually seen Wolfe do this quite a lot once Yanmega is down to its Focus Sash, because the speed boost, just click Tailwind and let it get knocked out and let your other Pokemon sweep through those turns. There's no burn from the Flare Blitz there, and it really doesn't do too much. But now, do you want, Yanmega's here, maybe you get the KO into Incineroar to stop the parting shots, but I feel like you'd rather have Ursaluna in while Tailwind is up to do more damage.
Or the other aspect of the Tailwind is that it makes it easy for the Porygon 2 to Trick Room. That's how Game 2 ended up playing out. I think this ended up being a pretty good double switch for Andrew. Doesn't pay a high cost for it. Mungus doesn't stay on the field to take that. I think from Wolf's side perspective, instead of just going for damage in the Golden Go, you can make sure everything on the team is faster than Golden Go, and then eventually have the Yanmega land this Air Slash. That means there's no more Intimidates coming out, and no more parting shots coming out from Andrew's side.
Flare Blitz not doing too much damage to the Porygon at all. Does actually get the burn this time around, and Porygon doesn't have a guts ability, right? So it's not like that burn is going to make it any better. Will do that residual damage every turn, that tick damage at the end of the turn. He does use Trick Room, however, so now the slower Pokemon will be moving first, and Speed Boost means Yanmega, it's pretty much the slowest, or it's the last Pokemon you could ever want under Trick Room with how fast it is from 3 Speed Boosts.
Yeah, Andrew immediately reacting to the Tailwind on the other side with a Trick Room of his own. Both of these Pokemon are so low that even a combination of Porygon 2 and Amoonguss is threatening just two KOs before Wolfe can attack.
I think there is the world, though, where you want, potentially, as we saw in one of the prior games, Andrew clicking a Pollen Puff into a switch-in, and it did no damage to Wolf's Pokemon compared to trying to maybe Pollen Puff your own teammate. As you know, Amoonguss will be moving first under the Trick Room here. So Golden Go does switch into that Porygon 2 slot, and it's exactly what Andrew goes for. Pollen Puff recovering Golden Go's HP. You just got 5 Life Orb recoils back from that Pollen Buff onto this Golden Go. Incineroar clicking parting shot here to lower Amoonguss' stats.
It's a scary game, though, because you've left Wolfe with all of his flexibility to pivot around, and it doesn't matter how much health this Golden Go has, it is never taking a Facade. There's no Intimidate to mitigate that Facade. Now Ursaluna is on the field. If you can't just KO the Ursaluna here, you're going to have to redirect away big Facades that are doing so much damage. The Pollen Puff may not pay for itself in the long run. You can see already where Amoonguss could have just KO'd the Yanmega, Golden Go would have just been at slightly lower health, and Yanmega would have been gone.
Yeah, this Golden Go is only at neutral special attack since it just swapped in. Now it had time to set up a nasty plot. So even though we are in these kind of precarious turns where Golden Go is normally faster, but because Tailwind is up and Golden Go's under Trick Room, now it will be moving first before the Ursaluna, but Ursaluna is pretty bulky. You wouldn't be too worried about a neutral Make It Rain, even with the Life Orb boost at this point. And Ursaluna, if it endures that hit, will punish and knock out Golden Go.
Right, Ursaluna can go after this Golden Go, probably threatens a one-hit KO. There are options like trying to Pollen Puff the Yanmega to turn Make It Rain into a single target attack. Even with no boost, a single target and Life Orb boosted one attack would be enough. The Yanmega just protects itself, stays on the field to lessen that Make It Rain damage. And for now, just Pollen Puff for a little bit of chip into Ursaluna to go alongside this Make It Rain. This is critical damage.
Will it be enough to KO the Ursaluna before it can attack and respond with a KO? No, it's not. Neutral Make It Rain, even with the Life Orb boost, does not take out Wolfe's Ursaluna, and now he can click the Facade. Andrew's Terrestrialized Pokemon, the win condition he's built this whole matchup, this best-of-3 around, is knocked out.
So without Golden Go left, you then have to look at what the damage picture looks like for Andrew, because all the Pokemon are very low. There's definitely not off the table that Porygon 2 and Amoonguss could try to close this out. The Porygon 2 we've seen is faster in Trick Room even without the Tailwind on Wolf's side than the Ursaluna, so you can just go for Pollen Puff and Ice Beam to threaten these KOs. That the Incineroar is low in the back. The Porygon took a +2 Make It Rain and then has never had a chance to recover since then. So it is not out of the question that even without a major attacker left, that Andrew could try to finish this up while the speed control is in his advantage.
One of the things I've talked to you about Wolfe in the past, we've got conversations on the broadcast about using HP as a resource, and that's something Wolfe is fantastic at. And at this point, he has leveraged a lot of that resource. He doesn't have much of that resource remaining on his Pokemon with a low HP Ursaluna that could knock itself out from Flame Orb Recoil. With a 1 HP Yanmega, with a non-recovered Porygon 2 from all of those turns ago, Wolfe is running out of that resource to use in this matchup. So Incineroar will switch into the Ursaluna position, expecting or anticipating either an Ice Beam or Pollen Puff into that slot. Yanmega will also swap out, meaning it has to be the Porygon 2 coming into this position for Wolfe. So a double switch means he's not going to have any damage on the field this turn. He does get a special attack boost from the down low. But Amoonguss goes for the Pollen Puff into his own Porygon 2 to bring it back up to full HP. And there's the Terra Blast from Porygon 2, KOing the Incineroar. Finally, Wolfe has lost his first Pokemon of this match.
And Wolfe managed to lose almost all of his HP before losing a single Pokemon. But Andrew there gets health back onto Porygon, makes this a little bit more respectable. But Wolfe also has preserved the two Pokemon that were very vulnerable while Trick Room was up because of their low HP, so that they can outlast until the Trick Room goes back down again. Even one Air Slash from Yanmega could be pretty impactful, but the damage is not still really there. The Porygon 2 on the other side is low. It's also vulnerable to Spore. If it gets put to sleep, then obviously it cannot recover.
This Ursaluna is also so low that it looks like potentially the Flame Orb, even if you protect this turn, I think it will be able to hold on through this turn, the Flame Orb recoil. However, it'll be brought so low that the next turn will be Ursaluna's last. Spore goes into Wolfe's Porygon here, so forcing it to stay asleep this turn. It means it cannot recover. Ice Beam into the Ursaluna's Protect. So Wolfe has one last turn with this Ursaluna, or one last turn where it stays on the field before it knocks, itself out from the Flame Orb.
Yeah, it was forced to protect itself on that previous turn because of Trick Room, but now Trick Room will expire. And so Ursaluna should move before either of Andrew's Pokemon, but it needs to do a lot of damage. If Trick Room goes back up from the Porygon 2 on the other side, then Andrew's just probably going to win this. Amoonguss can just protect itself through this turn. Is the damage there? Porygon 2 for this turn just going to stay asleep. No one-turn sleep. Yeah,
Wolfe could have tried to double up the damage into the Porygon 2 to stop the Trick Room, and the Facade is not enough. Porygon 2 hangs on. Andrew successfully resets up those twisted dimensions, meaning his slower Pokemon will move first over Wolfe. You see the shrug on Wolfe's end, understanding that sleep definitely helped Andrew there. If Porygon got an attack off, then Andrew's Porygon does not get to reset the Trick Room.
Absolutely critical sleep to have this Porygon stay for 2 turns. Now the Trick Room is up. Both of Andrew's Pokemon will move before either of Wolfe's. Porygon 2 very low, but has 2 different ways to get recovered, either recovering itself or Pollen Puff from the Amoonguss. You can also just go for the damage into the other side. Just really critical speed control from Andrew. It's not often that you would see the team that features the Garchomp and the Golden go against the team with the Ursaluna using Trick Room to win, but Andrew set up the situation, has the Porygon 2 once again fairly healthy.
Yeah, back up to 50 HP thanks to the Pollen Puff. Amoonguss targeting its teammate to keep it healthy on the field. Yanmega will keep itself safe from that damage thanks to the Protect, and Porygon 2 sleeping the full 3 turns on Wolfe's end.
If Porygon 2 could have woken up there, probably would have reversed Trick Room in order to have Yanmega then be the first thing to move on the next turn, but it might have still been too little too late. But now with Yanmega, it was going to have to go for a double Protect on this turn. I just don't see another way things can go. But of course, meanwhile, the Porygon 2 is just getting healthier and healthier. The double Protect fails.
30% chance, and it does not come through for Wolfe. 2 Pollen Puffs in a row. This Amoonguss has been so crucial in this set, just keeping his Pokemon so healthy. Ice Beam into that 1 HP Yanmega. Finally, Yanmega goes down. He might have buzzed his last game here in Louisville. Trick Room from Porygon 2 will wake up finally from those turns to sleep, resetting these twisted dimensions. But of course, it is just the it's just this Porygon left against this full health Amoonguss, full health Porygon, and Porygon 2.
Porygon 2 could recover here, get back health, but there's just no way to come back here. A freeze is what Wolfe is looking for, but it's burnt already. Wolfe, you can't freeze it. Spore into Porygon 2 is going to put it right back to sleep. Yeah, we understand how this one's going to go down. The recover could have just drawn the game out a little bit longer here, but Andrew said, hey, don't mess with my twisted dimensions. Bring the Trick Room back, and now he can just slowly but surely whittle down Wolfe's half HP Porygon. I'm so fascinated by the way that this game played out, the dynamic speed here. it really feels like the crucial moment in this game was when Wolfe decided to tailwind with that Young Mega. It gave the gap that Andrew needed to have a speed situation that was fully in his control, to get the Trick Room up during Wolfe's tailwind and make sure that the Golden Go was going to be the first thing moving. That's what let it get that massive make it run. It didn't KO the Ursaluna, but it left the Ursaluna so low that it eventually wound up with Andrew winning this game, winning this match, and moving on to top 4.
Yeah, the king of VGC is down in top 8. Andrew Zheng will move on to top 4 of the Louisville Regional Championship. What a phenomenal set, best of 3 that was between these two trainers. To lose game 1 like that and to have the adjustments in game 2 and 3 to take out Wolfe, you got to give all the compliments in the world to Andrew here.
Such a delicate game to keep the right resources around, to find the chance to heal the Golden Go, to make sure the Golden Go could get the necessary damage in, and then